Well, if you're Dawn Staley, you hope quickly, because she said, you know, there's a lesson to be learned in this. When you are number one, people are going to come after you. And that's just what it is now for South Carolina in a very challenging early season schedule. This is how Dawn Staley says she likes her team prepared for March in December.
And they're on the road against a Iowa State team that has a first-team Big 12 member in Ashley Jones.
Yeah, a positionless player. Ashley Jones, you need to know about this young lady. Look at the type of numbers she's putting up. And she's also got a very young backcourt, a very confident young backcourt to back her up in this game. This should be a good one.
Victoria Saxton and Kristen Scott take the opening tip, and it's South Carolina in the black uniforms that have the game's first possession. We're off and running on this Sunday morning from Ames.
Iowa State going to go with the zone defense to start, and for South Carolina, a big part of their offense is scoring in the paint. You see it quickly done there by Bria Beal.
Now the sophomore with the first bucket. It was interesting to see and hear the comments from head coach Dawn Staley after their loss on Thursday to number 8 North Carolina State. As there's a travel on the first possession for the Cyclones. The moments after the loss, her comments were she was uncomfortable watching her team. They were untamable, selfish play. She was very candid about her team's play on Thursday night.
She was, and that showed because there was only 9 assists in that game. You see some early success inside. This is a good sign if you're South Carolina. Leah Boston getting those 2 points. But she said it in a way that I got. You know, this is a young team. They were used to a lot of the spotlight last season, and that was really one of their first times being really exposed nationally on television. So she said they like to see themselves. And you know, I get it, like we're in that age now, but it's time to rebound and adjust, because you play against a team like Iowa State, so sound fundamentally and coming off a huge win. They have a lot of momentum right now.
Lexi Donarski, a freshman driving, but it rolls off the front rim. Donarski went crashing into Zia Cook. There's an open look left side and a quick start. Bria Beal with her second bucket, and South Carolina's off to the fast start.
This is a totally different team than what we saw against North Carolina. Already the team flow is better, and you can feel all the ladies are looking up in the lanes to see where they can make a better play. It's good ball movement early for South Carolina.
Ashley Jones gets her own miss, and she won't get a third try, as that's stopped by Victoria Saxton. Boston, a 3, got it!
Oh yeah, you got to see that now this season from Aaliyah Boston. She wanted to work on her range. She does it. You see what confident stroke she has from behind the line. You're in trouble now.
That's Boston's second made 3 of the season, which equals her total from a year ago. Turning, spinning, and banking it off the glass is Ashley Jones. First points for the Cyclones.
One of her greatest skills is her ability to pivot. So when you watch her work in the post, she's going to be undersized. She's only about 6 foot, 6'1", but she's so smart in the way she can use her balance and her body off the pivot foot. She gets open looks.
You saw the numbers, averaging 31 points a game through the first 3 games for the Cyclones. From the left elbow, short that time off the left side from Boston.
One thing Iowa State has to do in this game is keep South Carolina off the offensive glass. You can do that. You limit them to being a quarter court team, forcing them to make the play, rather than gaining those momentum plays, points off turnovers. Slow it up on offense like this. You've got a great chance to knock off the number 1.
Kristen Scott on the feed from freshman Emily Ryan. And a quick 5-0 run for Iowa State after South Carolina scored the game's first 10 points, and a miss that time from Saxton.
This young lady bringing the ball up right here, Emily Ryan, is so calm, so collected for a freshman. Has a whole history behind the greatness that she carries with her into this arena.
Donarski and 1, and here come the Cyclones.
Well, Lexi Donarski, who committed to Iowa State after 8th grade. She knew she was coming here for a long time. Loves the left side of the floor. Picks that dribble up strong. And she is one of the tougher ladies on this team. And you watch how they go about their business. This team very fundamentally sound, very young, but a team that we saw, Mark, Coach told us, these ladies have been committed since their junior, senior years in high school. And as you saw Lexi earlier than that.
Donarski, the highest rated recruit ever. Coach Bill Finley and the first ever McDonald's All-American for Iowa State women's basketball. So what was a 10-0 start A 7-0 run for the Cyclones, and that is ended on the bucket by Saxton.
I like that decision by Saxton. She saw the open shot, she dribbled to the spot and pull up jump shot. So many times there's not that opportunity to take those shots inside the three. Players get a little tentative, and I'm like, go for it. Take those mid-range jumpers.
3 missed by Ashley Jones. Cook brings it up. From the short corner, that's good for Bree Beal. She's off to a nice start with 3 buckets already.
Yeah, she's shooting very confidently, and not a player that you're going to pay a ton of attention to in the scouting report because there's so many stars. But you have to. She spent a lot of time in the offseason getting stronger, getting more secure in her ability to shoot the ball, and it's showing up tonight or today.
Scott picked up the dribble, able to thread the pass to Emily Ryan, who lays it in.
That's what you do when teams overcompensate on defense. If they're trying to take the passing lane away from you, you got to cut hard to the rim. Great recognition right there by Iowa State.
Saxton, Boston off her hands, but it's run down by Beal. Doubled. Boston, 1 dribble, spinning, goes to the right hand and banks it in.
She's so calm under pressure, Mark. It's so much fun to watch her. When she gets the ball in the paint, she is as composed as can be. Double, triple team, doesn't matter. Somehow she always finds a way to get her shot off.
Last year's National Freshman of the Year, and there was no question about it. She was a unanimous pick.
Oh, yeah. There were no questions.
3 off the right side that time from Ashley Jones. And a travel brings us to our first timeout. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's, home for the holidays.
The ACC Big Ten Challenge. Up and away. Yes! And the finish. He got it! Oh my God. Wow. What a great ball game. Unbelievable.
Well, last year the South Carolina women only lost once. That was early in the season to Indiana in the Paradise Jam in the Virgin Islands. Nobody in the SEC could take them down. They did lose some key members. Kiki Herbert-Harrigan, Ty Harris went high in the WNBA draft. They're back as the #1, and we'll see what happens after the loss Thursday to North Carolina State. But it is certainly one of the heavyweight programs in women's college basketball.
South Carolina is for real. They have not only established themselves as national champions, but a dynasty in the making. And I love how they replenish. Great recruiting classes, and how do you replace Ty Harris at point? You know, that's one of the things they need, and that's another great backdoor cut. Iowa State, knowing that's how you break pressure. A little stutter step, head back door, and the lanes have been clear.
Well, she says, I'm open, I'll take it. Boston already has 7 points, but off the mark that time. Boston only had 9 points in 35 minutes the other night in the loss to NC State. Jones getting to the basket again.
Are they not crafty? These Cyclones, wow. You can tell a lot by when teams trust each other to go backdoor and you hit them in stride on those passes. That's a lot of team chemistry because that's, hey, look at me. When I give you that look, I'm cutting backdoor.
South Carolina scored the game's first 10 points. Iowa State went on a 7-0 run. Now they're down just 3, but we get a foul on Carolina.
Here's that back cut. Ray Johnson, one-handed bounce pass. Yes, please. Beautifully threaded. And then another backdoor pass. And that's what I'm talking about, the footwork of Ashley Jones. In between 2 taller, stronger defenders, she finds that one extra step in that window to get a clean shot.
3 missed by Ray Johnson. Beal handled the pass. It was a little bit wide. Now they lose it underneath. South Carolina turns it over. Senior Ray Johnson. An Iowa State team, Ashley Jones, she's a junior. South Carolina is going to bring Destiny Littleton in. who after playing 2 seasons at Texas set out last year as a transfer. You mentioned this roster for South Carolina, and Brooke, it has 11 players on the roster. 6 are McDonald's All-Americans.
Yes, and you can see why players, top caliber players, want to come in and play for this program. You develop pros, you've got a great chance at a national championship, and you got the fam backing you up at Colonial Life Arena. I mean, one of the best, most spirited fan base out there in women's college basketball. It is awesome to do a game there.
Letitia Amihir is called for the foul. Coming up this afternoon, we have a college basketball triple header on the men's side with 3 top 20 teams. It begins shortly at 1 Eastern. Villanova taking on Texas. That tips off the day. Then you got Xavier, Cincinnati in a crosstown shootout, and Kentucky, Georgia Tech finishing it off. All 3 games on ESPN and the app. Villanova's lost a couple of games to COVID, and Texas won the Maui Invitational, which was played in North Carolina. And that's all on the men's side on ESPN. The free throws knocked down by Jones. She's now hit 25 straight free throws.
And she's savvy in the way she draws contact. So not only does she get clean looks, but when she wants you to foul her so she can get those 2 freebies, maybe a little breather, she's going to find it.
Amihir is fouled. The blocking foul is called on Jones, Ashley Jones. Ashley, who scored Iowa State's last 7 points, picks up the personal.
I got to tell you, Mark, this is the future of South Carolina women's basketball. Letitia Amihir is that player who can do literally everything you need to have done. Get a rebound, bring the ball up the court, play some defense, make a shot when you need it. Coach Staley told us that she's a pro without a doubt. And what she loves about her, it's her skill set and her fearlessness. I mean, she was injured, didn't play for a long time. Coach Staley said she didn't even see her for 5 months. And now she's got that knee brace off, which tells me she did a lot of work in physical therapy to get that confidence back.
Yeah, playing without the knee brace this year, no question. That's big to see her getting back to normal. And she has been spectacular off the bench, as you alluded to this year. Back up to a 3-point lead for the Gamecocks. And a travel committed by Kristen Scott. Well, Bill Finley missed a few games. He did not have COVID, but away from the program, came into contact with someone who did, so he was quarantined. He did come back for their last game, which was their conference opener and a win against TCU.
Yeah, that had to be so difficult to watch the game from home, but Jody Steyer, the associate head coach, did a terrific job. As you see the 3 balls start to fall here for South Carolina. But Bill Finley, I felt a very confidence air about him, I guess. When we were talking to him over Zoom about this game, they were excited to host the #1 team in the country. This is a great opportunity for Iowa State.
3 missed by Ray Johnson. South Carolina's been good from 3-point range. They were just 2 of 12 in the loss to North Carolina State. They are now 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. Another nice shot by Henderson.
Henderson, a 5'7" junior guard out of Fort Myers. She's so comfortable in the catch and shoot. A lot of point guards, they don't like to go out that far. They're more distributors, but Henderson will launch.
Scramble for the ball. Ashley Jones' sister, Aubrey, and her kind of collided to make sure they kept possession, and South Carolina foul on the push. Lee here picks up her 2nd personal, so that is important with just over a minute and a half to go in this first quarter.
Well, that's one of the things that she does best that gets her to the free throw line. We talked about it. Ashley Jones being so creative, and she has to make up for the lack of size. It's 6 feet, which still sounds pretty impressive in life, but not when you talk about Big 12 basketball. You're going to go up against the 6'3s, the 6'4s night after night. So what are you going to do to overcompensate for your lack of size? You got to have great footwork, and that's what she does.
A couple of free throws for Ashley Jones. Ends that 7-0 run for South Carolina. And Ashley Jones has scored the last 9 points for Iowa State. And I think we have an issue with the clock.
Yeah, the shot clock didn't seem to be running.
So our officiating crew, Roy Gilbayan, Keisha Thompson, Dee Kantner today. Make sure you get that right. Zaya Cook way off the left side that time, and the loose ball is grabbed by Emily Ryan.
And Destiny Littleton in to provide a spark of defense. See how tightly she's guarding Ryan, trying to make it difficult for her to start the offense.
Well, they had the back cut with Feuerbach, but a travel first took that away.
Yeah, Iowa State with a few costly turnovers just by shuffling their feet before you catch the ball. You got to catch it and then dribble, and it sounds so fundamental. I think that's what we're seeing early on in the season too, Mark, is teams getting into the rhythm of playing actual 5-on-5 basketball. It's been a long time for them to regularly do that.
Boston with her muscle is called for the offensive foul. She's kind of giving a look to official Decanter like, what'd I do?
Yeah, let's take another look at that. You see the rebound here. Boston has it.
Yeah,
and
maybe
that's really leading right with that left elbow, even though she was trying to clear some space for herself.
Jones blocked by Saxton. South Carolina got out to a 10-0 lead. Iowa State cut it to a one-possession game. Back down by 7 and off balance. Tough shot for Ashley Jones. Not there.
Yeah, the defense from South Carolina has stepped up. The pressure was there. Iowa State got them with a few backdoor cuts, but I think now South Carolina is adjusting well to that. They're getting a better sense of the timing from Iowa State's offense, and they're playing patient on defense.
Cook got it. Swish for Zia Cook.
Wow, I'm standing right behind her as she launched that shot, and it had perfect rotation. You felt that one go in as soon as it left her fingertips.
Final seconds of this first quarter in the hands of Ashley Jones. They look to double her. Cook tries to get the steal. They get it off in time, but off the right side from Lexi Donarski. And that takes care of the first quarter. They opened up with a 10-point lead for Carolina, and they have a 10-point edge at the end of one quarter in Ames.
All right, well, Ashley Jones, a junior out of right here in Iowa City, has made her mark. Career-wise, she's scored 16 a game, but you're seeing this season, she's putting numbers up, 30-plus points a game. Bill Finley talks about how she's as good a player as there is in the country. And now she comes from a nice little lineage with a whole bunch of sisters that play ball too. You got Aubrey, Kelsey, Courtney, and little Bailey up front. Those 4 ladies plus Bailey are all going to play basketball. Bailey plays now. You have Illinois. You got 2 at Iowa State here with the Jones sisters. And it's just, hey, Dad hasn't had to pay for college. Mom hasn't had to pay for college for a while. It's been pretty nice.
And they've all had to work at one point or another at the Jones family restaurant in Iowa City, Jonesy's, which is a must stop off when you get to Iowa City.
Yeah, apparently a fantastic pork tenderloin sandwich, and what I saw on the menu that I'd like to try is the root beer float.
Root beer float.
I'm down for that.
Can't go wrong with it.
So we talked to Ashley about, I said, okay, tell me like the best part and worst part about working in a restaurant. She said the best part was the people, because some people who came in knew who she was, some didn't. She said the worst part, she goes, you know what? Sometimes, like, I just didn't want to work. And I felt that.
That was honest. That's
I was like,
who
you're
doesn't.
so real.
Got Olivia Thompson in the game now for South Carolina, number 0. Last 3 buckets have all been made threes for South Carolina. That was a long 2 off the mark from Saxton. Kristen Scott.
Now, South Carolina wants to get you into taking quick shots because they love to rely on that flow of transition basketball. It's a good triple team and kick out there by Boston. I love the ball movement.
Fouled Thompson, missed the 3, offensive rebound. Boston trying to go back up, but Aubrey Jones, the freshman, fighting her for it. It's going to go to Iowa State.
Well, a lot of contact here down low, and this was close, but I believe not an over-the-back call from Boston. You see more contact there. I'm surprised that we didn't get a whistle in some sort. But Boston really able to, wow, establish herself offensively and defensively. Saxton with a huge block.
It's been a drought for Iowa State. They haven't scored a bucket since the 4:12 mark of the first quarter.
Let's go back to that nice block. The defense help side, great timing. You see South Carolina starting to get more comfortable on the defensive end. Jones tries to take it, but met right there by Saxton.
Catch and shoot. Cook rolls it in.
Zia Cook can get into her rhythm. I mean, the speed that she possesses is next level. Her dad calls her the Maserati GT because she's so quick. So you get to see that on display. She's just had some trouble getting into this game, getting into the flow of this one, as well as North Carolina State.
Cook just picked up the foul, her second. A 12-point lead for Carolina, their largest of the game, and into the game is senior for Iowa State, Madison Wise, is Cook to the bench with 2 fouls. Iowa State trying to break this scoring drought. And scored from the field. Over 6 minutes of game time. Spinning, shooting, Johnson couldn't draw iron, and it's out to Carolina. Bill Findlay, this is year number 26 for him in Ames, Iowa, one of the legends of this game. Been here since 1995 as the head coach of Iowa State women's basketball.
And has the reputation of doing things so the right way, and that's what you heard from a lot of his recruits that signed here. They felt comfortable since early on in their high school careers that this was the place they wanted to be. So you got a young group who've really all known each other and been able to work on that head start. So you're looking at such a seasoned group of freshmen, and they're really confident.
Kristen Scott, who recently went over the 1,000 career point mark, shuffles her feet and travels.
And that's the 5th turnover for Iowa State, and not many of them have been forced by South Carolina. They've just been travels and absent-minded plays, but you got to cut down on those because South Carolina's too good defensively. They're going to make you pay.
Russell steps up, shoots the 2. And Anaya Russell, who's one of the freshmen, another McDonald's All-American for Dawn Staley, her first bucket.
That short corner has been good for South Carolina. They've recognized that that's what Iowa State is giving them. So you take what the defense gives you, and they're knocking down shots.
Last 6 minutes, almost all Carolina, 15-2 run, and that's now 9 straight shots missed by Iowa State.
Well, I'm digging the energy that Destiny Littleton has brought into this game. Really, it's been a lot of her defense that has kind of soaked up, the other players have soaked up what she's brought on the court, and you felt their defensive game step up.
Offensive foul here on Russell. She pushed Aubrey Jones. So tempting to always use that elbow to clear some space, isn't it?
Yeah.
You never did that.
Well,
did
what I liked to do was play defense and sell that call. If you touched me with your fingernail, I was going to try and get the charge called. Trust that.
A little bit of drama never hurts, right?
Never.
Wise not there. That's 10 straight missed by the Cyclones now from the field.
Drama is what makes our game so great.
Russell had to adjust. The pass was a little to her left, and the shot went left as well. But another chance for South Carolina.
Well, for Iowa State to make this game a little more dramatic, they got to start scoring points. And I think they start doing that by stepping up their energy defensively. They're just playing to protect. They're not playing to make stops.
Saxton scoring there on a second chance opportunity. She's going to come out.
It looks like they're wiping the inside of her leg there. May have some blood they need to take care of.
The reason for the stoppage and play by the officials. Clean up a little bit of the blood off the knee of Victoria Saxton. Donarski is going to go to the line here. Well, Tuesday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the app. We have the exclusive reveal of the College Football Playoff Top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys break them down from top to bottom. They have a live interview with committee chairman and Iowa AD Gary Barta. It's all presented by AT&T 5G. Let's look at the top four. Bama, Notre Dame, Clemson, and Ohio State. The folks here in Ames want to have us talk about Iowa State. Cyclones won the Big 12 for the first time ever last night in football. Or first conference title since 1912. And, oh yeah, there's this pesky team in the Big South, Coastal Carolina, that Brooks rooting on.
The Sun Belts. We formerly were in the Big South.
My mistake.
No, that's okay. We're in the Fun Belt of the Sun Belt, baby. Coastal Carolina might have a chance. Bowl game. I'm feeling it. Game day. They represent it. That's what's up, Shantz. You did us right.
Game day was there yesterday, and then they beat BYU in a dramatic ending. They kept BYU out of the end zone on the last play.
Bring on Bama.
Hold your horses just a little bit. I applaud your aggressiveness. Being aggressive, Ashley Jones down low, jump ball.
Thought that was solid defense there by South Carolina. They held. You got to put up a wall around Ashley Jones because, listen, she's going to find a way to sneak in there. Not that time. Straight up defense from South Carolina.
It's like the bucket's got a lid on it for Iowa State. Just about a dozen in a row from the field.
You know, they need to start moving more on offense. I'd like to see some screen and rolls. You know, that's a nice outside shot there. Wow, Russell knocking it down with confidence.
And the three ball's back for South Carolina. They didn't shoot it well at all on Thursday night against North Carolina State. 6 for 12 in three-point shooting so far today.
You see Iowa State trying to move without the ball, but a lot of times it's come down to these one-on-one type plays, and Jones got to come through that time.
And that breaks the drought for the Cyclones. And looking to answer on the other side, Destiny Littleton, an offensive rebound by Wesolek. Three, Wesolek. One-arm rebound by Boston, and then gets it blocked by Scott. But I'm with you, Brooke. What a rebound with one arm.
That was a WNBA rebound right there, and that's a terrific run out by Jones. And no surprise that Emily Ryan placed that ball perfectly in her arms on the pass. Great look ahead.
For the first time today, we see a bit of frustration from Dawn Staley as she calls the timeout, up by 15.
4 teams, 2 semifinals, New Year's Day. The College Football Playoff lives on ESPN.
Well, cancer has touched us all, and it touched Dawn Staley's family last spring. Her sister, Tracy Staley Underwood, was diagnosed with leukemia, a form of blood cancer. And the South Carolina family of Dawn Staley became a bigger part of her intimate family, the Staley family. And it was a great story where South Carolina fans sent cards to Tracy with little trinkets in it and money. The fortunate part is that a transplant was needed by Tracy Staley, a bone marrow transplant, and their brother Lawrence Staley was a 100% match. But the fans of South Carolina became a big part of that story as well.
Well, it's incredible that the base that Dawn Staley has built has turned around to be able to support her just as much in this journey. And we certainly wish Tracy Underwood, we wish you strength and energy in your recovery. And the South Carolina family has come through big time. 2,000 cards were sent to Coach Staley in the matter of the first couple days. That is just absolutely incredible and shows you the fighting spirit of the Staley family is alive and well.
Well, during these challenging times, ESPN and the V Foundation's fight against cancer has not stopped. If you're able, please support cancer research by visiting v./donate. And 100% of what you give goes directly to cancer research. Our best to the Staley family and Tracy. Iowa State at one point missed 12 straight shots, and they found their way out of that. A left-handed driving layup by senior Madison Wise.
Yeah, that's the X factor for Iowa State. You know that Ashley Jones is going to come in and this year put up 30 plus, but who are the other scorers?
Offensive foul on Anaya Russell. That's her second.
And off the solid screen, Morgan Kane going to roll to the basket, and South Carolina late on that help side. That's got to be a step or two faster to stop the driver. So good ball movement, spacing, just fundamental screening from Iowa State.
Donarski looking. Where's she going to go with it? 3-second call. That's a freshman moment right there where you're like, uh-oh, I picked up my dribble. Where am I going with this?
Right, because you know what she's thinking? She's thinking she has 5 seconds, not 3. She forgot she was in the lane,
yeah.
I guarantee it. No, better that type of turnover than to pass it in a stealing lane for South Carolina to get it on the run out. They're still finding ways to score inside. I mean, the strength of their post players and kind of those slasher type players that Saxton is, she gives you so much versatility. She can take you inside, she can hit that little soft jumper. She can block your shot, make you feel silly.
Ashley Jones able to adjust up and under.
And if you're South Carolina, you got to stay with the play. It's not over. And as Boston gets deep positioning, she's going to try to get to work.
Foul on the floor against Iowa State. Morgan Kane.
Well, after Saxton just bullies her way inside offensively, she comes through with the extra defense. Well, she's been present and active today. I love shot blockers who give themselves enough distance to block shots and keep the ball in bounds. I mean, it's more dramatic when you can send it to like the 5th row. That's great, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You need possession, and she's got that great heads up about her.
Feuerbach. Henderson running the break here for the Gamecocks. Flipped it up off the glass, loose ball, grabbed by Thompson.
There was a lot of 50-50 balls that South Carolina didn't get against NC State. You see them working a lot harder for that this afternoon, don't you? There is a
Absolutely.
Concerted effort to go after those boards.
South Carolina had not lost it over a year when they were beaten by North Carolina State on Thursday, ended their 29-game winning streak. Coach Staley said, even though I'm frustrated from the loss, we're going to learn from this and keep going.
Well, one of the things that Coach Staley preaches is communication. And she said there were things that we did wrong. We talked about them, we voiced them, and you make adjustments and you get right back out there.
Donarski couldn't quite finish, and then a bit of frustration after the miss. On Staley's team, I mentioned their only loss last year came to Indiana in their first game of the Paradise Jam in the Virgin Islands. So nobody in the SEC last year could take them down. They won the regular season and the tournament. They were able to get the tournament in before the world stopped.
I was really looking forward to a South Carolina-Oregon final. I mean, if things would have played out in a basketball fan, just take away any alliances to teams, that's the best matchup we could have asked for last year.
I agree with you. Star-studded it would have been.
Ooh. Oh.
Thompson loses the handle. Defense by Donarski going the other way, and one! The freshman from La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Lexi Donarski goes hard, okay? Terrific heads-up play on defense, saves the ball, charges right to the rim, gets a little contact from Henderson on the way up. That's okay. She still concentrates, keeps her head up, finishes the shot. It's a real big-time athletic move there from Donarski.
She finishes the three-point play, gets Iowa State back within 12.
And those are the types of plays you get. When you get All-Americans, you get players who have had that kind of experience in big moments, and that's what Donarski brings. Oh, step through.
Couldn't quite finish it, Saxton.
Great move, though.
Open, taking it, Scott, no.
Scott hasn't found her way offensively in this game just yet.
And the three-point shot really hasn't been good for Iowa State as it is now, 1 for 11.
Now South Carolina forced them to start shooting further back because they took away the backdoor cut Iowa State burned them on in the first quarter.
Littlejohn, left hand, rolls in.
Very efficient move from Littlejohn. Looking at the angle, watching her drive, she had such a tight space to get through, but she made the most with the fewest dribbles.
Final seconds of the half. Would not count even if it went, and a 14-point lead for South Carolina at the break. Carolina scored the game's first 10 points, so in a way, Brooke, we kind of went back and forth from that point on.
Yeah, I think we got a good ball game right now, but Iowa State's got to figure out a way to prove themselves offensively. They got them with the backdoor cuts early, but South Carolina's long-range game has responded. So has their defense.
Halftime in Ames. Number 1 South Carolina, number 23 Iowa State. Welcome back to women's college basketball as part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. About ready to start the second half from Hilton Coliseum in Ames. Number 1 South Carolina coming off their first loss in over a year. Have the 14-point lead over 23rd ranked Iowa State. Well, let's take a look at the first half. And Brooke, it begins with Aaliyah Boston for South Carolina.
Yeah, Boston shooting well so far. 4 of 8 from the floor and can really make anything happen amongst traffic and in the paint. And then she steps out now. This is what she's added to her game, that range. And Boston with 9 early points. And on the other side, you're getting to see Ashley Jones. We're going to call this the pivot package because she is phenomenal off her feet. She really can create. You think the angles are getting cut off for her? No, she finds another one. She's been really the only scorer, though, with 16 points. She's gotten some help from Lexi Donarski. But who else is going to step up for Iowa State? South Carolina, meanwhile, assisting on 12 buckets in the first half. That tells me that the ball is moving right, and you can see it in their shooting percentage.
You see those numbers. South Carolina scored the game's first 10 points. Iowa State got it back to 3 within 16-13, but then they missed 12 straight shots. A lot of those were threes, Brooke. They went 1 for 11 in three-point shooting.
Yeah, they were cold. And one thing that Coach Fenley told us the other day is he needs offense from his young players. Emily Ryan, the freshman point guard who scored over 3,000 points in high school. Girl, we need you to come through with some of that 3K here in the second half. If you're Iowa State, you need those points.
You mentioned the 16 points for Ashley Jones, so she's right about where she is average-wise, coming in at 31 per game through 3 games. Here's the aforementioned Emily Ryan. Donarski, and a good beginning for Iowa State.
They have to find ways to score inside because the 3-ball, right now, it's not falling. So they have to gain their confidence again inside the paint. That was a nice drive to do it.
Come out in some zones, see if that changes things up.
Yeah, South Carolina's been hitting the 3. So far, so good for them. And there's another one. Ooh, Cook. She's got such a nice touch on her shot.
Second 3 for Zaya today. And South Carolina continues to be hot from beyond the arc. 7 of 15 now. Looking to answer, Emily Ryan. I think she heard you. She's trying to put up some points.
Well, she only took 2 field goal attempts in the first half, so you gotta pull the trigger.
Henderson didn't pull the trigger. Boston. Cook says, "I'll take it."
Okay, that might be one of the best offensive possessions I've seen from South Carolina this season.
Ball movement was outstanding.
Right? Everybody got a touch. They found in rhythm the exact shot that they wanted, and Cook delivered.
Driving right to the rim, Emily Ryan says, "Brooke, I hear you. Here I go."
Funny how that works, you know? You got to put it out there in the universe, and that's like baller to baller, just us feeling each other talk.
Well, until Iowa State lost a couple of games ago to South Dakota State, Emily Ryan hadn't lost a game since her 7th grade year. Now, that 3 by Ashley Jones. That doesn't include AAU ball.
That's just not right. You got to go that long, and then imagine what it feels like. You're like, wait, why do I feel so uncomfortable? Oh, a loss? That's what this is? I don't like it.
Missed by Boston.
South Carolina's been feeling that way since November of last year.
Here is Emily Ryan, who went 104-0 at Central Plains High School in Claflin, Kansas. Bam!
Whee!
Ashley Jones again.
Jones, huge first half and hasn't slowed down. You know, I love what she had to say to us about, you know, focusing on leadership and being more vocal. And right now in this game, for Iowa State to have a chance, she's going to have to just step up in every aspect.
That time, Cook short. She had hit a couple from long range to start this second half prior to that. South Carolina's led by as many as 19. Iowa State's gotten it back to 10 and off the hands of Donarski and out to Carolina.
Those costly turnovers could come back to really haunt Iowa State. You know, we saw a few double dribbles and just travels in the first half. And they really need to cut down on those and make every possession count.
Boston doubled, passes out, finds the open player, and that's Destiny Henderson from the corner.
And South Carolina and their three-point shooting today has been fantastic between Cook and Henderson and Aaliyah Boston. You get options, and so Iowa State, even with that zone, they're going to have to think about extending it.
Ryan gives it up. And gets it back from Donarski. The freshmen feed one another and off the heel that time. Saxton set the screen. It leads to a wide open shot for Beal, and the three ball is all in for South Carolina today.
Beal is one of those intangible players. She's just so competitive. Loves to take on the team's best offensive player. And you have such assigned roles within the South Carolina program. That's a nice take and finish with the left hand. That's her favorite side, Donarski. You want to try and take that away if you're South Carolina.
That back cut was a big friend early in the game to Iowa State. That time Donarski rolling right to the rim. Picked off by Wise. The senior brings it ahead. Bounce pass laid in by Ashley Jones.
And you wonder how much longer Coach Staley is going to handle this before she calls a timeout or make some adjustments. And we saw Destiny Littleton come in the first half and really lock down on defense, and that was a big game changer for South Carolina.
Well, timeout Dawn Staley. She wants to figure this out. 5 minutes to play third quarter. And South Carolina is up by a dozen. The Week 13 Monday Night Football matchup has Josh Allen and the AFC East leading Bills taking on the 49ers, who are still in the NFC playoff hint after their win against the Rams last week. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6 Eastern. Josh Allen, the product of Wyoming. Quarterback rating of 102, 29-8, and touchdown to interceptions. And how about the 6 rushing touchdowns?
That's pretty good. You know, I hear that the Bills is really more, they're the team of New York. Is that right? It's kind of the most popular team now?
Well, it certainly ain't the Jets right now.
That's what I was trying to avoid saying.
And the Giants are playing in a bad division and actually are still in it. There's Saxton. After that timeout from Dawn Staley, it's been a 12-6 run here for Iowa State, Brooke, but all of the points had been threes for South Carolina in this second half. So we come to another break in this 12-point game from Ames.
You are looking at one of 3 women in Kansas State history to have scored over 3,000 points in high school. But if you don't know about Jackie Stiles, you need to go on and jump onto Google and YouTube and check out what this legend put together in her career. And her and Emily are so connected. Emily's coach, Jackie Stiles' dad, no big deal. And so to have what Bill Fenley said is probably 2 of the most prolific scorers in the history of the game come from the same place, that's just unheard of. And Emily Ryan said she became serious after really going to a Jackie Stiles basketball camp. And if you watch Jackie play, you watched her work out, her routine, it was incomparable. No one could put up those type of numbers. You know, Jackie in season, she would make 1,000 shots in season, twice a week, just for extra practice. give you a
Incredible.
taste of what she was doing.
And her dad, Pat, was the high school coach for Emily Ryan. Here's the shot for Aubrey Jones. But those names, Jackie Stiles, you saw Laurie Kane, who was at Mound Ridge, Kansas, then went to Kansas State, of course. That's good for Beal. But Claflin, Kansas, by the way, if you've never been to Claflin, Kansas, and I assume most of you have not.
I have not. I have not.
So
what am I missing?
the state of Kansas basically looks like a rectangle. If you put a dot right in the middle of that rectangle, I mean, as much as you could center it in the state of Kansas, that's where Claflin, Kansas is. There's a reason that the high school that Emily went to is called Central Plains, because it's right in the center of the state.
Of course, it's going to be in balance. It's going to be in the middle, as exactly how she plays. Balanced, has the fundamentals down, has the composure. And she says she's mad at Jackie because she's never free enough to do some workouts with her.
Scott and Jones were trying to figure out who was going to take the ball there. As Donarski was 6 to shoot. Who'd that go off last? That went off Iowa State.
Yeah, the Cyclones, they need some help. Ashley Jones has been aggressive all game long, and you've seen spurts from other players. And Donarski's been one of them, but great job. I think that was Cook that got her hands in the lane.
Yep.
Knowing Donarski likes that left side, now South Carolina's made the adjustment. They're trying to take that away.
Boston trying to clear space, goes in
Big
between.
move.
That's the pro move right there, ain't
It sure is, and she is really, I think she's Asia Wilson 2.0. I love what Coach Staley said about how she seeks out information. She's the first player on the team to do the scouting report and watch film on her opponents. Like, that's next level. That's what tells you she's got her eye on the WNBA.
There's a three-point shot, and not a whole lot of threes have gone today for the Cyclones, but that one does for Aubrey Jones, the younger sister.
Yeah, she's more of the catch and shoot the three quickly type player, and that's what Bill Fenley needs right now. Cook with a pull-up. Okay.
And one.
Wow, great hang time. You know, Cook is so explosive. Those first couple of steps, you're not going to find many players quicker than that. I mean, just gets the ball from up and under, gets herself to a free spot, takes that contact and concentration and finishes.
Well, the old-fashioned three-point play there for South Carolina. Their first 4 buckets they made here in the third quarter were all threes.
The third quarter is where the Gamecocks offense comes alive. They've been outscoring their opponents. And something about that third quarter where they come out of halftime, they are intensely focused, and this is really where they make their run.
You know what's been really interesting today is that Saxton guarding Ashley Jones. That has been fun to watch all day.
It really has, and Saxton's a team captain, so she's happy to take on that leadership position, and she's got great size at 6'2". And remember, she was on the SEC all-freshman team. So her role today is to shut down Jones if she can. Oh, spin move. Okay. Wow, that's the pivot.
Ashley breaking that one out of the holster and said, hey, Saxton, you haven't seen this one yet.
Man, that had me off balance over here.
Boston. You're going to have to, that's a 2-point shot. Wasn't a 3, but what the story is her developing range.
Yes, getting confidence by spending time with guards. That'll do a lot for you. You see players, big and little, shoot the 3 now. That's the game. So if you're big, you got to learn.
Thought Furback was going to take that to the rim. Instead, gave it up to Scott in an empty possession for the Cyclones there. Cook using the screen, little roll, a shot from Saxton knocks it down.
Yes, the pick and pop. Those are the types of plays that South Carolina needs to get in rhythm and have some success, because when teams force them to play at their quarter court offense, you're going to have to create, and they did it from a play like that. That was a nice execution.
Looking for, and Saxton and Jones going at it again. There's a foul before the bucket.
We're going to have to take another look at this spin move. Watch Jones pivot perfectly, splitting 2 defenders.
You could
with
see when
grace.
Saxton turned her hips a little to the left, Ashley Jones was like, whoop, 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 I'm going the other way.
You're so right. I mean, basketball is, if you can focus on the hips, that's all you got to beat. The rest of the body's got to catch up to what the hips are doing.
Hips don't lie. I heard that somewhere.
Somebody smart, really, yeah. Very smart young woman said that one time, I think.
Boston clears that time for Carolina. Cook, just a bit strong. Ryan gets it back after Cook deflected a pass, and in the corner, tough shot over Boston, knocked down by Kristen Scott.
This is a huge deficit to come back if you're Iowa State. But if you can get some outside shots from some of your bigs, get some stops, you could chip away at this lead.
Meeher gave it up. Beal the miss, offensive rebound, going after it. Meeher out of bounds off Jones.
Meeher been somewhat quiet in this game as she tries to get that power dribble. And she was so involved in the entire game, really, against North Carolina State.
Yeah, she picked up 2 early fouls here today. Only played just over 2 minutes of the first half. Zia Cooke has picked up the slack, if there's any slack to pick up for South Carolina in this third quarter.
You know, we talked about how great it's been for Aaliyah Boston to extend her range. For Zia Cooke to become a consistent three-point shooter is going to be a huge weapon for South Carolina throughout this season. Because you know she can dribble, drive, and pull up. But if she can get that 3 down, watch out.
Carolina's hit 6 of their last 8 from the field and have opened up a 20-point lead, their largest final seconds of this third quarter in Ames. Henderson, bam. And that's going to take us to the end of the third quarter. Carolina came out shooting the 3-ball well in the third quarter, and they add to the lead at the end of 3 quarters here in Ames in this SEC Big 12 Challenge, a 74-52 lead for South Carolina. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's, home for the holidays. You got a men's basketball triple-header going on over on ESPN. Villanova and Texas are underway. You got a Queen City matchup after that, Xavier in Cincinnati, and then Kentucky, Georgia Tech, and Atlanta. All 3 games on ESPN and the app.
These are all great games. And the crosstown shootout, never a bad matchup there. Of course, I grew up in Cincinnati, so that's, I just remember the Nick Van Exel days, Corey Blunt, Melvin Levitt, James Posey, Brian Grant. That's one of the best matchups you'll see in college basketball.
Meeher trying to battle up for a second shot and draws the contact and the fouls. We're into this fourth quarter from Ames. Big 12 SEC Challenge, #1 South Carolina, coming off their first loss in over a year, losing on Thursday to NC State. They have a 22-point lead over 23rd ranked Iowa State. How's Dawn Staley's team responded to that loss so far in your mind, Brooke?
I like the way that they've played today. They were much more purposeful on offense, and you know, we talked about the assists. They're up to 20 now, so 20 assists on 29 field goals. If you hit 70% of your field goals off assists, you're having a great day. And I think, I'm no math major, I'm not even going to try in my head, but I think that's above
Yes.
70% even. So they're sharing the ball, they're locking it up on defense. Now you got Meeher on Jones. This is a good matchup right here. That's a pro matchup.
Just a little bit of contact, and Meeher's like, hey, I got 2 quick ones in the first quarter. You're going to give me that third one there.
Yeah, she's got to try to keep that hand up. You see that right hand on the hip of Jones. And she's so long that if she can just move well athletically, laterally, I mean, she can really use those long arms to defend at the end just like that. Now, in my sense, she was pretty straight up, and you see the referee, the official, making the motion that she was in the shooting plane.
Yeah, she definitely brought the arms down a bit. I thought the first one was a little ticky-tack but on the hip. But, hey, that's 2 quick ones, and that's 4 total now for Meeher.
I agree with you. I mean, Jones, though, so good at drawing the fouls. It's her specialty, where she gets to the line and then she makes you pay.
She is money from the line. She's made 29 straight now. South Carolina has hit a season-high 12 threes today. 6 of those came in the third quarter alone.
Oh, look at how far back Iowa State's defense is. They're really sagging, forcing South Carolina to consider shooting those threes where they've been comfortable today.
Cook on the drive. Offensive foul. Well, South Carolina is saying that the defenders were inside the restricted arc, and we may get this call overturned. Dee Kantner has come over, and that's now been changed to a block. This has been changed to a blocking foul. Let's take another look.
Yeah, she's inside, so that makes complete sense.
And give the officials credit here. Dee Kantner, who had a better look, came over to Nikesha Thompson and said defender was in the arc.
Yeah, that's the right call.
They're going to go check to make sure, but they're going to see just what we saw, and that there's no question that the contact came within the restricted arc.
I like the fact that the restricted arc has been put into college
Yeah.
basketball because it gives you more of a defining, okay, you got to be out here in order for it to be a charge, right? And it also has a lot to do with the safety of the players coming down. There's one thing, if I'm in the air and you come up under me, you know, that tells me you're trying to get me to roll an ankle. Like, you can't do that. And so that's what they've tried to eliminate.
Second personal on Ashley Jones as it puts Zia Cook at the line. Zia hits both. Bumps up the lead to 24 with 9 minutes to go. Open three, back rim miss, punched out though by Maddie Frederick.
A lot of standing still from Iowa State. They got to start screening and moving.
The screen from Ashley Jones, and a drive falls for Lexi Donarski.
Oh, great job by Donarski to keep the play alive. She didn't have anything, so she created a shot on her own.
And freshman Donarski now with 13. Jones leading Iowa State with 28 as we see Zia Cook, who's had a 19-point game of her own. And yes, she played football with the boys growing up.
And take a look at those Wonder Woman socks.
And the socks are
That's
spectacular.
the best part.
Excellent
Oh, you thought-
sock game.
You thought she was just a basketball player, huh? No.
In and out, offensive board. Saxton tied up, though, by Maddie Wise. By the way, that was a great sock game. The sock game was great for Zia Cook. And we're going to get a look at the shoe game for Coach Staley.
Oh,
And now we need to get a look from the side
we
eventually.
sure do. And these were a pair I've never even heard of. Coach Staley coming through with the newbies. Not surprising, though. Always pushing the envelopes for fashion. You get a little taste of the sequins on
there
the
you go.
side.
Yeah, there you are.
Okay,
Nice.
these are golden gooses. I had to Google the golden goose to find out what was going on. Coach Staley rocking.
Well, don't give up the golden egg, then. That's-
That's right. Yes, now we
There.
can see them in all their glitterness, shine on the sidelines.
if the lights go out for some reason, we're still going to be able to see Coach Staley's
That's right.
feet.
You got to show those shoes off, man.
Ami here. Been a frustrating day for Ami here, who's been absolutely spectacular for South Carolina so far this season coming in.
I love her game.
And 3 seconds in the lane. That's the second time Donarski's been caught for that today.
Yeah, you mentioned to me here and how Coach Staley talked about, we didn't even see her play for 5 months, but she's playing as fearless without the brace that she was when she had to wear it. And how you come back from a knee injury and you increase your vertical by 6 inches is beyond me.
I've never heard anybody develop a 6-inch vertical, especially when you're 20, 21 years old at that age group.
Yeah, you're usually about at your peak, you're right,
Yeah.
but credit her for putting in that work.
Here she is. Ami here, driving. Good defense. Kristen Scott right on her hip.
And Kristen Scott is a name here that's in the top 5 record book, or of the record books for blocks. Yep.
Destiny Littleton, that is.
Yeah, Destiny Littleton has done so many things in this game and hasn't played a whole lot of minutes. So when she's come in, she's been impactful. You know, coming off that ankle injury, she's feeling good. You can really tell she's in the flow of this game.
Bill Finley and Iowa State want to talk it over with just under 7 minutes to play in Ames.
Four teams, 2 semifinals. New Year's Day, the college football playoff lives on ESPN.
Yeah, Tuesday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the app. The exclusive reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys break them down. And they interview committee chairman Gary Barta, all presented by AT&T 5G. Iowa State fans at Ames still hoping after smoking West Virginia here in Ames last night. Coastal Carolina, Brooks alma mater's 10-0 for the first time ever.
I mean, if you're undefeated, can you go ahead and claim a national championship on the line? Is that possible? Or?
Well, UCF did that a couple of years ago. I don't think it stood very well outside of Orlando, but out of the timeout, Ashley Jones laying it in.
There's a knee here.
That's offensive as she barreled into the defender.
And we talked about her skill set and her fearlessness, but there also has to be pace of play and the feel of the game. And having been out for so long, that's the thing that she's missing, right? She's got great energy. She wants to come in and you know, use all that strength and that power. I get it. And that's just more repetitions in game. She'll get comfortable with that.
Ami here fouled out, by the way. 4 points today. 0 for 3 from the field. All 4 of her points came from the line.
And Coach Staley over on the sidelines right now, giving her some guidance. And that's where she, I think, excels. Just relating to players while being a coach. So there's that respect level there, but there's also that, you know, she feels like she can reach them at their level. And they're such good communicators, and that's one of the things that makes this program so strong is their ability to not assume, is what Coach Staley says. She's like, I don't want to assume what you're thinking. You got to speak up. When you get everything out on the table, it makes for a much stronger team.
30 points so far today. Can she make it 32? Not that time.
I mean, that's incredible to score 30 points on the #1 team in the country that has great defense.
Boston, another one of those one-armed rebounds, keeps it alive for Carolina. Well, that was going to be my point for Ashley Jones. It's her 3rd straight 30 scoring game, but the previous 2 teams, let's just say, out of the caliber of South Carolina, even though they lost to South Dakota State and won at TCU. Ashley there says I can play defense on the other end, but take the charge.
Yeah, this one didn't feel good. She took all that contact.
30 points. She's 11 of 22 from the field. Perfect from the line. Sixth time in her career, 30 points. Just happens to be the last 3 in a row. And she's, after taking that charge, determined to get to the rim there.
Still finding a way to impact this game. Ashley Jones needs some help from her teammates, but she's been making her mark from the outside, inside, with traffic on a fast break. There has not been one thing she's not done today. I mean, South Carolina has been throwing just about every defender they can at her, and she's still finding ways either to score inside from a 3 or, in this case, get back to the line.
She's now hit 31 straight free throws. And she'll get a little bit of a rest with a tad over 5 minutes to go in the game. In a 21-point game, and able to share a little smile with Coach Finley.
Yeah, that doesn't happen too often. Ashley Jones is locked in and a very serious player, so And Coach Finley gave him a little shout out to one of the better players in the country. She's still establishing herself, but know her name, Ashley Jones.
That bounced off Wise, then it bounced off Saxton, and it goes to Iowa State. Look back at the bench again, and I think she's talking about that charge she took. Well, she's holding her back.
Well, unfortunately, we can't lip read right now, so I'm out of it. I'm pretty decent at that.
You can't read lips through a mask?
We gotta get see-through masks. Like, somebody come up with that they don't fog
they're
up.
out there. They're out there.
No, they're not. They're plastic shields. They're different.
No, there's actually somebody has had a mask. Yep.
No, I've had one that just fogs up.
Oh, okay. I'm not talking about the. Boy, didn't mean to get into a COVID conversation here late in the game.
Hey, these things are important right now. Isaiah Cook trying to find her way still in the scoring column late. You know, I like how she's been communicating with her teammates. With such a big lead, you can get lax with things like that, but she's still looking at everybody, making sure they're on the same page. And that's a role for her that she's also still growing into.
Wise got his spin past Boston and got pushed. Now, we had a nice chat with Madison Wise a couple days ago.
Yeah, we really did. And Coach Finley calls her the X factor on this team. And I said, you know, how does that make you feel? And she goes, you know, to be honest, my freshman year, I really struggled. And it was the conversation that Coach had with me my sophomore year. He challenged me, and he challenged me to be aware of the little things and how I could impact that game. And so that's what she's been accustomed to now in her role. And the best way I can describe that for you folks at home that aren't too familiar with basketball, it's moving without the ball. It's playing help side defense. It's getting an extra rebound. It's making sure you box out or setting a good screen for your teammates. It's like noticing when there's dirty dishes around the house and you just like do them instead of being told to do them. That's how you move without the ball.
Well, I'm male, so I don't really like to do dirty
No.
dishes.
No. We're not having that excuse.
Boston, was it tied up? Yes. I think it's genetic with us men. We see dirty dishes, we just leave them.
I have so much to say. We only have just a little bit of time here left.
Wide open, Russell. That's off South Carolina still. It's Destiny Henderson still playing defense.
Yep. I like this because now this is a good battle. You've got really good, talented freshman point guard in Ryan. And Destiny Henderson can practice her on-ball defense. You want to keep yourself in the best shape you can. And South Carolina's challenged them to a very hard schedule this year.
Aubrey Jones just a tad long. Russell determined, but Feuerbach playing the defense, tried to block it and commits the foul.
You know, even though we don't have a close score, what I've liked about this game is how competitive it's been. I mean, you really felt both teams battling as hard as they can. Iowa State, just not enough offensive weapons other than Ashley Jones to impact this game. And for South Carolina, I really love the way that other players today have stepped up. You saw Bria Beal hit a bunch of shots. You know, Ami here didn't have a great day like she had against North Carolina, and you had other players. Destiny Littleton come in, have a huge impact. You know, those players you don't first take your eyeballs to on the scouting report are stepping up, and that's a great sign for Coach Staley.
Open look, three short from Wise, trying to chase down her own rebound, but Boston beats her to it. Under 3 minutes to go. Nice defense and a steal by Aubrey Jones. A little bit of a reach by Zion. She's going to get caught for that. Well, you mentioned it earlier, Brooke. It looks like South Carolina, Coach Staley should be happier with the effort today after the loss to North Carolina State, even though, as you saw her there a moment ago, she's always going to find a few things to be unhappy about.
as any head coach wants to make those adjustments. You know, it's about intensity. She's trying to prepare for March right now, and any coach, you know, with their eye on the national championship, that's exactly what they're going to do.
But I think if you're Iowa State, Coach Finley's got to feel like you don't get a chance to test yourself against the #1 team in the nation very often. He's gotten that chance, and I think looking ahead to more Big 12 play, and they've already won their opener against TCU, he's got to feel pretty good about what he's got. They have that big in-state matchup against Iowa coming up on Wednesday. A couple more non-conference games before getting back in it against K-State.
Well, I think what it tells you is that you've got the competitiveness. They were willing and ready to face the #1 team, so you know that your team is confident. Now, you just have to be more efficient in execution. You can't turn the ball over on silly plays and travels. Like, you really have to focus on every possession. You know, and South Carolina rebounded nicely after their loss and broken streak against North Carolina State.
They hadn't lost in over a year, had won 29 in a row before losing to NC State, the 8th-ranked team in the nation, on Thursday.
Well, NC State came out with more energy from the start. They had it at the finish. You know, it's almost always the more aggressive team wins the game.
3 left side, around and out. From the left elbow, that's short from Cook. He's had, other than that, a really good shooting day.
Yeah, been doing well, especially from behind the line. 4 of 6 from 3, and that's exactly what South Carolina needed. They did not shoot well against the Wolfpack. They had 74 field goals. They only made 20.
Nice drive. Feuerbach. Scooped up, and here come the Cyclones once again, just under a minute and a half to play. In and out for Aubrey Jones.
How about that rebound from Boston? She's able to hold off defender with her left arm and grab the rebound with one hand in her right. Come on.
That's her third one-armed, one-hand, whatever you want to call it, rebound today.
So impressed by her game.
Under a minute to go, 4 on the shot clock. Got to put it up quickly. Got it off in time. Didn't hit the rim, though, and a shot clock violation.
Let's go back to this rebound from Aaliyah Boston. 6'9" wingspan. That's how that happens. Great concentration and strength.
She's got 15 rebounds today.
Wow.
Out of bounds to South Carolina.
Yeah, and you notice we asked her about her hair, and I said, you know, why did you choose the colors that you did? And she said she started with the blue because, and this is how media savvy these guys are these days. She goes, I thought the blue would look good on camera, and then these other colors were complementing the blue nicely. I said, oh, so we got mermaid vibes out here. That's what we're doing. She agreed. So, like to think, oh, this color's going to look good on TV. You know they're thinking ahead.
And I'm so happy you got that in the show because I was worried you weren't going to get it
Come
in,
on.
but we did.
Look,
you got to get that going.
She gets the Style Points Award for today.
South Carolina is going to improve to 4-1. And they next play on Friday against Temple in Columbia. And that'll be on the SEC Network. Coming up here next on ESPNU is the Grambling State Texas Tech men's game.
And you'll be here for the afternoon cap here, right? Paul coming in here next to play the men.
This is a men's women's doubleheader at 6 Eastern tonight back here on ESPNU. We got DePaul and the Iowa State men. And 83-65 is going to be the final score as South Carolina wins it. They never trailed and improved to 4-1 as the Cyclones dropped to 2-2 as Bill Finley and Dawn Staley. A quick word as they depart and head their separate ways after #1 South Carolina gets back in the win column with an 83-65 victory.
For me, it was all about assists and teamwork today for South Carolina. They had just 9 assists against NC State on Thursday. Today, 21 assists on 30 field goals made. It was an even distribution. You had some good outside shooting from 3 finally for South Carolina. Cook hit 4 threes, Henderson with 3, so it was a big day.
Mentioned those 15 boards for Boston today to go along with her 13 points. Take a look at the team final stats. South Carolina shoots right at 50% from the field, and they did the same thing from the three-point line.
Man, and they doubled up on the glass. Look at that. I mean, when you say rebounding wins championships, that's exactly what you can point to there. So really solid team effort today from South Carolina.
Some other notes for the Gamecocks. Henderson finished with a dozen. I mentioned Boston 13. Beal was a big early scorer in this game for South Carolina, and she finished with 13 and 4 rebounds. But Zia Cooke was a big story. 19 for her today. She had 4 threes.
She did. I like the flow of her game. She didn't try and force it, and she took the opportunities when they were there. So good, confident afternoon for Cook, because South Carolina, as good as they are in the interior, you have to have these three-point shots to respect the outside.
And a chance to visit with Zia Cooke, the sophomore. Hey, Zia, let's start off how you think the team responded to the loss to North Carolina State.
How do I think we responded? We went into practice and we made sure we continue doing what we've been doing. We took the loss, but we just kept it moving. You know, you win some, you lose some, but that's something we don't want to happen again. So we definitely went into practice with positive mindsets and got the dub tonight.
Zia, you guys went from 9 assists in your game against North Carolina to 21 today. What was the mindset around, sharing the basketball and getting the next best shot?
That was the main thing for us. You know, Coach tells us she wants us to get shots and flow, so that was the main thing for us. Make sure we're sharing the ball, no selfish play, and it showed tonight.
Well, Zia, you did a terrific job leading the team from the outside, and the distribution today in offense was really there. I mean, talk about some of your teammates' efforts, especially players like Beal, who stepped up and got you some shots.
Yes, ma'am. We just had to stay between them and the basket. We noticed we started getting fouls in the first quarter, so we had to adjust our defense, and I think that's what helped us out tonight as well.
And a nice job today. Congratulations on the fine performance. Thanks, Zia.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Zia Cooke in South Carolina as they win it by 18, led by as many as 25, and they take it 83-65 in this Big 12 SEC Challenge from Ames, Iowa. That's going to take care of things from Ames. For Brooke Weisbrod and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Mark Neely. Coming up next, at the top of the hour, Feast Week continues as Grambling State visits the 17th-ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders. On the men's side, number 1 South Carolina back in the win column. They beat number 23 Iowa State 83-65, and so long from Ames.